Every single one of Caesar's assassins died violently. The men who stabbed Rome's dictator, believing they would be celebrated as heroes, instead became the most hunted fugitives in history, meeting ends more brutal than their victims. The conspiracy began with Marcus Brutus and Gaius Cassius, two senators who watched Caesar accumulate unprecedented power. They saw a tyrant destroying the republic their ancestors had built over 5 centuries. Caesar had declared himself dictator perpetuus, dictator for life, effectively ending Rome's democratic traditions. Brutus, despite being Caesar's protégé and rumored illegitimate son, felt duty-bound to act. Cassius recruited over 60 senators to their cause, each believing they would be remembered as liberators. They chose the Ides of March 15th, 44th BC, when Caesar would attend a Senate meeting. Their plan was simple: surround Caesar and strike together, spreading the responsibility and the glory equally among the conspirators. The assassins emerged from the Senate chamber with bloodied daggers raised high, expecting cheers from the Roman people. Instead, they found the forum empty and silent. Citizens had fled in terror at news of the murder. Brutus attempted to address the scattered crowd, proclaiming they had freed Rome from tyranny. His words echoed off marble columns to deaf ears. The conspirators marched to the Capitol Hill, still believing public opinion would turn in their favor. They barricaded themselves there as night fell, suddenly realizing the gravity of their miscalculation. Rome mourned Caesar rather than celebrated his death. The senators who thought they would be crowned as heroes had instead become isolated fugitives within hours. Mark Antony seized the moment with calculated precision. Caesar's loyal general had initially appeared conciliatory, even shaking hands with the assassins. But at Caesar's funeral 3 days later, Antony delivered a masterpiece of manipulation. He displayed Caesar's bloodied toga to the crowd, pointing to each of the 23 stab wounds. He read Caesar's will aloud, revealing generous gifts to every Roman citizen and his gardens bequeathed to the public. The crowd's grief transformed into rage. Antony never directly accused the conspirators, instead letting Caesar's torn garments speak for themselves. Riots erupted across Rome. The mob hunted anyone suspected of involvement in the conspiracy. The assassins fled the city as their houses burned. Brutus and Cassius abandoned Rome in April, just weeks after the assassination. The men who had struck down Caesar now skulked through Italy in disguise, avoiding main roads where angry mobs searched for conspirators. Brutus retreated to his villa in Lanuvium, then fled to Greece. Cassius escaped to Syria, where he still commanded military loyalty. Both men began raising armies, desperately gathering forces from Rome's eastern provinces. They levied taxes, seized treasuries, and conscripted soldiers. The Liberators had become warlords. Meanwhile, in Rome, Mark Antony consolidated power alongside Caesar's heir, young Octavian. Together they formed the second Triumvirate with Lepidus, and their first act was chilling. They published proscription lists naming enemies to be executed on sight. The proscription lists appeared on white tablets throughout Rome in November 43 BC. These weren't mere arrest warrants. They were execution orders offering rewards for heads delivered to the forum. The Triumvirate condemned 300 senators and 2,000 equestrians to death without trial. Every conspirator's name appeared prominently. Rewards ranged from 25,000 denarii for senators to smaller sums for lesser men. Roman citizens turned on their neighbors. Slaves betrayed masters for freedom and gold. The streets ran with blood as bounty hunters prowled the city. Properties of the condemned were seized and auctioned. The proscriptions served dual purposes, eliminating political enemies while funding the coming war against Brutus and Cassius in the east. The armies collided at Philippi in Macedonia in October 42 BC. Brutus and Cassius commanded 19 legions against the Triumvirate's equal force led by Antony and Octavian. The first engagement brought chaos and confusion. Brutus successfully routed Octavian's forces and captured his camp, but Cassius faced disaster on the opposite flank. Antony's legions overwhelmed his position, and in the dust and confusion, Cassius received false reports that Brutus had fallen. Rather than face capture, Cassius ordered his freedmen to kill him. 3 weeks later, the armies clashed again. This time, Antony's forces systematically destroyed Brutus's legions. Surrounded and defeated, Brutus fled into the hills where he convinced a loyal soldier to hold a sword as he ran upon it. Decimus Brutus met an even darker fate than his co-conspirators. Once Caesar's trusted general and named in his will as a secondary heir, Decimus had personally convinced Caesar to attend the Senate on the Ides of March, leading him directly to the assassin's blades. After Philippi, Decimus fled north toward Gaul, where he hoped to find sanctuary with allied tribes. Mark Antony dispatched agents to hunt him down. Decimus was captured near the Rhine River by a Gallic chieftain seeking Roman favor. Rather than deliver him alive, the chieftain had Decimus executed immediately, sending only his severed head to Antony as proof. The man who had betrayed Caesar's trust most personally died alone in foreign territory, abandoned by the legions he once commanded. The remaining conspirators scattered across the Mediterranean like leaves before a storm, but nowhere proved safe from triumvirate vengeance. Agents tracked them to every corner of the Roman world. Some assassins died in battle, cut down by legionaries who knew their faces from wanted notices. Others were betrayed by former allies seeking clemency or reward money. A few took their own lives when cornered, choosing Roman honor over public execution. Those captured alive faced brutal public deaths in the Forum, their bodies displayed as warnings. Within 3 years of Caesar's murder, nearly every conspirator lay dead. The few who survived did so only by complete obscurity, abandoning their names, families, and former lives entirely to live as anonymous exiles in distant provinces. Octavian transformed Caesar's murder into the perfect justification for absolute power. The young heir, who took the name Augustus, spent decades systematically dismantling the Republic while claiming to restore it. He portrayed himself as Rome's protector against chaos and civil war, pointing to the assassination as proof that senatorial rule bred only violence and instability. Augustus maintained the facade of republican institutions, keeping the Senate and traditional magistracies, but drained them of all real authority. He concentrated military command, legislative power, and religious authority in his own hands, creating the Roman Empire in everything but name. The conspirators had killed Caesar to save the Republic, but their daggers instead provided his heir the perfect excuse to bury it forever. History cannot decide what the assassins truly were. Shakespeare immortalized Brutus as the noblest Roman, torn between loyalty and duty, while others see only ambitious murderers cloaking personal grievances in patriotic rhetoric. Ancient Romans themselves were divided. Cicero praised their courage but lamented their naivety. Dante placed Brutus in hell's deepest circle alongside Judas, the ultimate betrayers. Their fate reveals a harsh truth about political violence. Killing a tyrant doesn't kill tyranny. The conspirators removed one man but created conditions for something far worse. They had no plan beyond the murder, no strategy for the power vacuum they created. Their story stands as history's stark warning that assassination, however justified it may seem, rarely produces the freedom its perpetrators promise. Thanks for watching this journey through one of history's most dramatic tales of vengeance. If this story gripped you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with others who appreciate history's darkest lessons.